Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the quick take. What a game we saw yesterday. Fulham winning by 5 goals to 3 against Leicester City in what was a remarkable day in the Premier League as a whole, with 3 games being played and lots of goals. First of all, I would just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who came to the Half Moon pub yesterday for the live podcast. It was so much fun to be there and be on the panel. Thanks for the invite and thanks for watching our show and taking part. It was really fun, and hopefully we can do it again soon. And it was good to obviously celebrate that live podcast with a win, or the win with that live podcast. Fulham made 2 changes coming into this game. Harrison Reed replaced Lukic, and Kenny Tete came in for Cedric from the midweek game against Liverpool. And let's just run through the game, and that might just be the majority of the video because there's so much to talk about, so many instances, so many incidents, and so many goals. And I was just watching back the half-hour highlights that Sky put up from the Premier League, and obviously there's 8 goals. There were so many other chances as well, particularly for, I'd say, Leicester and for both teams, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's. Well, Fulham started really well. Good morning, Farrell. Hope you're doing well. Fulham started very well. In fact, we could have scored a couple early on. Toasted with a header over the bar, and then we got a free kick in the 10th minute. Willian with it. It was one of those where at the time I just thought it was an own goal. It'd come off someone, the way in which it sort of just floated over the keeper. It looked like some sort of mistake, but upon the replay, it went all the way in from Willian, and the club actually just tweeted it's the first direct free kick we've scored since Joe Bryan's against Brentford in the playoff final. What a start! And the second goal was shocking from a Leicester point of view. They were so open. And there has been a lot of talk this season, or even in the last 2 or 3 seasons, about Leicester's defending from set pieces. Just really bad. Like I said earlier, toasting with a free header a few minutes into the game, and we came out fighting. And for a team, and I said this when we played Leeds, we played Everton, for a team who are down there in Leicester, needing points. Just off the back of a 2-2 draw with Everton, where that game as well was open. Both teams needed to win that. Leicester was shocking. And the players they've got, I mean, it's remarkable. Harvey Barnes, Dennis Pratt, James Maddison, Jamie Vardy, Sumare Tielemans started as well, Valpfas and Soyuncu. They were so poor. Going forward, Leicester were good. They actually looked pretty dangerous, and they created a hell of a load of chances and could have scored more than 3 if it hadn't been for Leno, who, by the way, was brilliant. We'll come on to it. But I was shocked by Leicester. But is that me just being naive and just thinking that every team who's down there is just going to ramp it up against any opposition because they're fighting for something, when actually you just look at it on the face value and just go, these are actually really poor teams? And that's the conclusion I came with, especially when we played Leeds United. I thought they were just really poor when they came to us. And Leicester the same, despite scoring 3 goals. But, we'll get into the goals and how they came about. Right, so where were we? Because I'm already getting lost. Okay, so so the second goal, brilliant tackle from Paulinho. Harry Wilson uses the space very well, and the run made by Carlos Vinicius. This is a great finish, and I have to say, Carlos Vinicius, if he comes out the team next week, fine. But his contributions, especially in the last couple of games, Liverpool away yesterday, he's been really good. And actually, it's actually quite peak that he's going to be out the team, I suppose, for Mitrovic in the last 3 games, or not. You never know. In between the second and third goals, or even the first, I remember we gave the ball away. Robinson gave it to Jamie Vardy, and it was a really good save by Leno. Leno made one howler in the penalty. The communication between him and Diop wasn't there, but apart from that, one of his strongest Fulham games, especially even leading up to their third goal, the way he managed to recover and still save it before they eventually put it in. Tom Cairney scored with his right foot. The world is broken. What happened there? Again, this is poor from Leicester. They give the ball away. the hold-up play from Vinicius is really good, and I'm now starting to think, or do think, that Vinicius is very much a confidence player. He's playing with confidence, therefore contributing way better in this team, linking up play. Nice to hold off the defender, play it to Kenny, who went with his left, cut in into his right, and 3-0. We were just up in the stands laughing. We were like, what is going on? I know we're safe. I know we were fine. And, we just want to get more points. You want to win more games. But the way in which we were just dismantling the Foxes, title-winning Foxes back in 2016. And I really fear for them now, especially with Everton winning and Forest winning. Goodness me, it was a disastrous day if you are a Fox. Half-time, and we were just like, this is great. Let's go to the second half. And it was 4-0, pretty much straight away. Kenny Tete had all the space in the world. Great driving run, ball across the box. Kenny with great first touch, great finish. 4-0. Iverson was terrible. Let's get into the comments when we get through this game, because there's so much happened. The 4-1, Harvey Barnes. Yeah, they had their chances. Leicester, they forced Leno into a couple of really good saves. Barnes forced Leno to tip around the post, and then they did get their goal. It kind of came off the bar, and didn't be sure if it went in, but it did go in, obviously, and it's 4-1. Then they had the penalty again. So like I said earlier, Leno comes out. He probably shouldn't be coming out that far, but you can forgive him for that, because then he goes and saves the penalty, which Sammy pointed out is the first penalty save we've made since Bettinelli against Brighton. I don't know whether that's just Premier League. I think because Millwall did miss a penalty against us a few years ago, but then again, that was a miss. So whatever. But it's been a long time. So it's a good save from Leno, and that's the first penalty save he's made this season. And then, so that could have been 4-2. And when they got the penalty, I was like to my friend next to me, I was like, this is going to end 4-4. Just the way in which this game's going, and Leicester need the points and blah, but it didn't happen. It was saved. And then, wow, Willian with a really good goal. Like, such a good goal. Cuts inside, takes that extra touch, gets away from, I think, Wilfred Ndidi. And actually, he doesn't hit the ball with the most enormous amount of power, but there's so much swerve on it. It goes away from Iverson, and that was 5. Then Leicester, of course, had another penalty. Was it a foul by Paulinho? I actually didn't realise how minimal the contact was, but it was a penalty, I think. And then Maddison scored it. Shane Duffy then made the mistake. Leno recovered. Daka did really well to put the ball back across, and Barnes made it 5-3. And I think we're done. I think we're done in terms of the match recap. So we can actually talk about some other things. What does it mean for the table from a Fulham point of view? Well, I mean, we don't move any places necessarily. However, we're now just 2 points behind Brentford. We could break into, we're in the top 10, but we could break further ahead of them if they were to lose to West Ham next week and we were to beat Southampton. By the way, if we beat Southampton or they fail to win, Southampton are down after losing last night. The last time Fulham relegated a team was Rotherham back in 16-17. We won 1-0 in the playoff losing season when we fell short to now League One Reading. And yeah, just great stuff. Great game. One of those really like silly games that you sometimes see in the Premier League where it's the end of the season. But the problem is, like, you sometimes see that between teams who are already staying up last day of the season. I remember Leicester actually went to Spurs and lost 5-4. I think Bournemouth went to Palace and last day of the season. I'm not saying it's the last day of the season, but I'm just saying end of season silliness. Bournemouth lost like 5-3 or 5-4 to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. These things happen. We played a game against already relegated Reading from when they were in 12-13, and we lost 4-2 to, I think, Adam Lafondra scored, or Robson Kanu. We were talking about it last night. So yeah, these things happen. But for the manner in which that Leicester, who have so much to play for, so much on the line, were 3-0 down before half-time, if you were a Leicester fan in that away end, you would be seething, absolutely seething. Right, let's go through some of the comments and then we'll wrap up. So much to talk about. Does Marco Silva need to give the players anti-penalty training in view of the numbers we're conceding, particularly of late? I think it's a poor mistake from Leno to come out that far. And how many penalties have we conceded lately? I suppose we have the one against Liverpool as well. But again, that wasn't a penalty. I mean, these are very, apart from the Leno one, which you probably shouldn't do, these are very minimal contact penalties that are being given. It's a bit sloppy, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Right. TC a header away from the perfect hat trick. You're right, yeah. And I think a lot of people were really gunning for him to get a hat trick. I think we made all 5 changes in the end. Yeah, we brought on obviously Shane Duffy, which was fun. Lukic, Solomon, Cabana, and Bobby D. Cordova-Reid. Leicester keeper was awful, unlike brilliant Leno. Agreed. Leno meant to concede the penalty because he wanted to waste time off the clock and he knew he'd save it. All right, is that the plan then? Leno had just heard how long it had been since Fulham had a penalty saved, so he stepped up for us. And then the Jack show. Right, yeah, so Joe will be back on Wednesday, and we'll be previewing the game against Southampton and maybe looking back on this one as well. Any more to say on the game? Well, overall as a performance, I was really impressed with Harrison Reed in particular. Paulinho, again, making some fantastic tackles like he always does. He's so incredibly unique as a player, isn't he? I thought Wilson was really good. He used the space, like I said earlier, really well. And actually, when he's in full flow and actually setting up chances and running towards the byline and has space on the ball, because the amount of space that Fulham got on the ball yesterday was remarkable. He really is quite silky, isn't he? He's really good to watch. And obviously, we saw that last season. I think when the season will finish, we look back on the season and we look at Harry Wilson's performances when he has played. Obviously, he's been injured. We'll say that he's done very, very well, and he is Premier League quality. I do believe it. Did I mention Williams? He was sensational again. I mean, the guy is incredible. If he signs another deal with us for another year, I'll be very, very, very happy. I think everyone will be. Kearney, brilliant. A brace. Kearney scoring Premier League goals is a joy. He hasn't scored since Everton at home. Once we were already relegated, and the manager at the time for Everton was Marco Silva. So that's nice. Tete, brilliant again. Robinson, apart from his mistake, was good again. Leno, brilliant. Everyone was good. I mean, Tosin and Diop were brilliant. Carlos Vinicius, brilliant. I mentioned all 11 players. I mean, everyone put in a standout performance. And, a year ago, I would not have expected Fulham to be in this situation. It's so, so nice. Let's do some final comments before we go. Okay. I hope Paulinho doesn't leave in the summer. Well, I mean, we shall see. I think his price tag will be minimum 60 million. Hopefully he stays for another year at least. Paulinho is the core of the squad. Tie him down. Well, he's already got another 5 years on his contract. So whoever wants to sign him is going to have to pay a lots of money for him. Yeah, wish Luke Harris came on. That was something that was pointed out. Given the comfort of the lead at the time, it would have been nice to see him play. However, maybe we'll see that next week against the Southampton team who have to win. The XG for this game was mad, with Leicester City having more than us. Shows how limited the model really is. Yeah, this was something that was brought up last night. Our XG was for scoring 5 goals was incredibly low. However, it doesn't really matter on the XG. It just matters how many times you put the ball in the net, and we did it 5 times. Leicester only did it 3 times. Genuinely, did Duffy only get subbed on because of Hammer's defend? Don't know why else he would have been subbed on, as he won't be with us next season. And Tosin, Diop were doing fine. I know what you mean. Like, the mistake came from Duffy for the 3rd goal. It was a bit banterous. It did feel like some sort of testimonial or like soccer aid sort of vibes to it when Duffy came on. It was really quite bizarre. But I think Marco might have just been like, actually, you know what? Might as well just put him on and give him some minutes. Given that obviously Tim Ream's obviously out this season as well. He's now 3rd choice centre back, Duffy, and apart from the mistake, he actually did okay and almost scored as well at the far post. We're only here for the Duffy. Reed, the Ginger Messi. Great win, but when we made subs, just showed how much we need to invest in depth this summer. That defending was comical. No, I think you can put it into context that the game was basically over, and obviously, you need to be switched on for the whole 90 minutes. That's fine. However, you are right, and I think we will invest this summer, and I think we will strengthen, and because the worst thing you can do. Even Marco Silva said this in his last press conference before the game. The worst thing you can do as a club in our position is completely stand still and not actually add to the squad. You actually look at a team like Leicester, who have basically done that. They haven't invested heavily in the squad this season. They lost Schmeichel. They brought in Wout Faes. They brought in a couple of others as well. But the main core of their squad is a lot from what we've seen in the last 2, 3, 4 years. And they're just slowly starting to decline a bit. And Jamie Vardy doesn't have that raw pace that he had back in 2016, 17, 15, 16. Maddison's obviously the key player for them. Tielemans has obviously still got that quality. And Didi, they got Dewsbury Hall. Like, they've got some very good players. They're a good team. But you do actually get that when you don't refresh the squad, it does get stale and they start to regress. And sacking Brendan Rodgers, who was such a success for them, won the FA Cup for them, and then they got Dean Smith in, who did do very well at Norwich early in the season and was tailing off at Villa as well. These things do happen, and if we don't freshen it up in the summer, we could find ourselves in trouble. I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing that. I'm pretty sure there's going to. Well, I would like to think there's going to be investment, and we're going to be looking upwards as opposed to looking downwards, or even just staying where we are, which I think for another season of consolidation is absolutely fine by me. I'd wonder what everyone else thinks. We finally scored from a direct free kick. Yes, we did. Goodness, we've been going for 16 and a half minutes, but I think it's justified for a 5-3, 8-goal thriller. The last time we played a 5-3 game, I think, was when we played Sheffield Wednesday in lockdown, which we were 3-0 up at half-time as well. Mitrovic is back next week. Does he get in the team after Fulham scoring 5 goals? We shall see. Thanks so much for watching. We will be back on Wednesday with a Jack and Joe show to preview it, the Southampton game. There is a hell of a lot to look forward to still. Champions League, playoffs. I mean, Sunderland getting playoffs yesterday was, in fact, we played a great game of football, but what was going on at the Den and at Deepdale in the Championship was just extraordinary. I know it's not our division, but this is football and it's very, very exciting. 3 more games for Fulham: Southampton away, Palace at home, and then Manchester United away on that final game, which could have some narrative to it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon, and have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you at some St. Mary's.